Let's talk about how you can get funding for zero-emission infrastructure projects. The EnergIIZE project provides incentives for zero-emission vehicle infrastructure equipment for medium and heavy-duty battery electric and hydrogen fuel cell vehicles in California. The project prioritizes equity and community involvement while making incentives available to a wide audience. To determine if you are eligible to apply, check out Section 4 of the most up-to-date version of the EnergIIZE Implementation Manual at energize.org/IRC. EnergIIZE has 4 funding lanes: EV Fast Track, Hydrogen, EV Jumpstart, and EV Public Charging. Today, we'll focus on the EV Public Charging funding lane. Those eligible to apply for this lane are those who are installing infrastructure that can be used by the public and those providing charging as a service. A full list of eligible technology can be found in Section 6 of the Implementation Manual. Currently, 50% of eligible costs incurred, with a project cap of $500,000, is covered under the EnergIIZE EV Public Charging funding lane. This increases to 75% if the project meets equity or jumpstart criteria. When the public charging funding lane application window opens, the applicant enters the first application process step, Submit Application. They must submit the following documents through the Incentive Processing Center, or IPC, which is an applicant portal: online EnergIIZE application for public charging, proof of cost share and supporting documentation, proof of ownership or site verification form, signed copy of EnergIIZE Terms and Conditions, confirmation of request for service from the local utility or evidence of coordination. If eligible, Jumpstart certification form. If applying for over $150,000 in incentives, answers to qualitative questions. For charging as a service applicants only, proof of ownership or purchase orders for medium and heavy-duty zero-emission vehicle for associated fleets. Once the public charging lane application window closes, all the applications are scored using a scoring rubric found within Appendix L of the Implementation Manual. If your project receives one of the top scores, then you will receive a Notice of Conditional Award stating that you may move on to Step 2 of the application process, provide supporting documents. Applicants in Step 2 will have 60 calendar days to provide the following information: confirmation from the local utility that the project site is adequately prepared to receive the necessary energy for the planned infrastructure installation, preliminary site plans, proof of license, insurance, and EVITP certification for EVSE projects only of the general contractor and/or subcontractor selected for the project. Insurance must be valid for at least 30 calendar days from the date of document submission. Copy of purchase order for EVSEs or hydrogen equipment, milestone payment schedule and request form to illustrate payment needs and also to serve as a request form to ask for funds from EnergIIZE staff. Applicants, upon completion of Step 2 and receival of a building permit, will then move on to Step 3 of the application process, Plan Project, and are required to submit the following documents: copy of the building permit, project plan and scope of work including construction timeline, copy of original California Environmental Quality Act or CEQA filing, copy of paid invoices showing eligible costs incurred if requesting milestone payment. Invoice must show serial numbers for all equipment. After Step 3 documents have been submitted, at this stage, projects may be eligible for milestone payment for costs incurred. Applicants, upon completion of Step 3 and necessary permits secured, Planning Department requirements satisfied, and construction completed but prior to final commissioning, will then move on to Step 4 of the application process, Initiate Construction, and are required to submit copy of the signed inspection sheet and closed building permit, copy of paid invoices showing eligible costs incurred if requesting milestone payment. If needed, milestone payment schedule and request form. Applicants, upon completion of Step 4 and project construction, will then move on to Step 5 of the application process, Commission Project, and are required to submit copy of third-party network provider communications contract with 4G cell phone activation and IP registration completed is required only for EV charging. Verification that chargers and refueling dispensers are in working order. Completed RSA certification of Level 2 EVSE where necessary. copies of final paid invoices and indication that no further outstanding balance exists, photo of serial number for all serialized equipment installed on the project site, photographic evidence of the site, milestone payment schedule and request form. For more detailed information on the application process, please refer to Section 8 of the Implementation Manual, as well as example documents in the Implementation Manual appendices, such as an example preliminary site plan in Appendix G. If you are a fleet in need of application assistance or are looking for a vendor to aid with your infrastructure project, you may also check out the EnergIIZE vendor list located on the Vendor tab of the EnergIIZE website. Check back on the EnergIIZE website at energize.org for upcoming funding lane application window announcements, workshop dates, and more. For more information, head over to the EnergIIZE website, energize.org, or email the EnergIIZE team at infrastructure@calstart.org. Thank you for your interest in this first-of-its-kind incentive project.